So this one is really close to my heart. It is all about being scammed online, how to identify being scammed online and avoid it and keep you and everyone else safe. So stick around. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to look at some tips and tricks on how to stay safe online. So first and foremost, we're going to go through the different types of scams that exist. Now, in this day and age, there are quite a few different types of scams. There are loads of them actually, but we are going to cover the most popular types of scams, and hopefully this will help you identify them when you see them. The first one we're going to talk about are email scams. Everyone's seen them, everyone's heard of them, but they are the most common types of scams that still exist today. And it's a bit of a shame really, because unfortunately they work, which really winds me up, because if they didn't work, it wouldn't be so prominent today. The good news is companies like Google, Microsoft, and any other large email provider have got so good with their spam filtering that most of the time you don't even see it. But there are still people that fall for email scams, and it is unfortunate. I'm just going to give you this as an example. If a hacker or an email scam group send out 100,000 scam emails and just 10 people fall for it, that is 10 people scammed, which is 10 people too many in my opinion. But the point I'm trying to make is it still works and people still fall for it, which is why banks, other companies that deal with online finance, etc., they are all trying so hard to educate people that actually do not click on these sort of emails. They will never send you these emails asking for certain bits of information, and this is still today the most common type of scam because it works. As frustrating as it is, it works. The next type of scam we're going to talk about is an obvious one. It is clickbait, and clickbait lives on web pages. It lives on anything you need to tap or click on, and effectively this is the pattern that they use. They will make the link or whatever it is they want you to click on interesting, a bit weird, a bit strange, a bit out of the norm to pique your interest, which will allow you to click on it. And once you've clicked on it, they've got you, and they can start their scamming journey in some capacity. So this is the other one, clickbait, and unfortunately it is very, very common, and you see it everywhere, at the bottom of web pages, on the side of blogs. It is everywhere, and it is highly frustrating. So we're going to get into some more complex type of scams now, which do start to cover a broader range of scams. And the next one we're going to talk about is social engineering. Now, social engineering is one that has a very low barrier to entry. If someone can get it right, if a hacker can get it right, they can start to access your friends, your life, your family, and it gets more and more scarier from there. The most common one I see is you receiving a friend request, and it doesn't matter what network, but you receiving a friend request from someone that you've already connected with, and you're quite sure that you've already connected with this person. The chances are that this profile was set up by a hacker. That person has been cloned, their identity has been cloned, they've copied everything over, and they're asking for your permission in order to be able to gain access to you and your friends, and then the cycle continues from there. You see that happen to you where you have a repeat friend request. Contact that person via some other means, whether it be like via WhatsApp or something along them lines, and ask them, did they just add you? Because if they said no, then their profile was cloned. The good news is these profiles tend to get discovered quite quickly, and they get removed from whatever platform it's on very quickly, but it still happens, and it just takes that small period of time for you to accept and for them to get into your network, which is highly, highly dangerous. Emotional scams. Now, this one is harder to pull back from, because once they've got you emotionally, they tend to have you fully. In this sort of scam, they can use things that they know are going to pull on your heartstrings, that are going to make you think, make you get upset, and it's a very, very, very powerful pull into the scam. And they will use images that you don't want to see, or that will make you click on it because you want to see or you want to help. They will use images that will make you want to click so you can try and help, or you can try and stop whatever's happening, whether it be involving something bad that's happening to someone or someone that's in trouble. Naturally, humans want to help other humans, and this is a very powerful way to start a scam. They will lure you in emotionally, and they will be able to get whatever they're trying to get by using this emotional blackmail. Now, this can be very hard to avoid, but my advice for you is to stop and think. Stop and think. Do you recognize these people that are trying to lure you in? Do you know the name? Are they trusted? And finally, the last one that I want to cover that is an emerging scam, I'm hearing so many people fall for this, is crypto scams. Now, we all know about cryptocurrency. It's extremely hot right now and everyone wants a piece of it. And of course, scammers have seen a way in here, right? By offering you free cryptocurrency, or get this token or get that token, blah, blah, blah. But the issue is, this again is another scam, because crypto isn't just given for free. And the problem we have here as well is the technology is so complex that it's very hard for a user like yourself to know what is right and what is wrong, and also what is real cryptocurrency and then what is fake cryptocurrency. There is a great podcast that I would like to recommend, and I'm going to put it in a link below. It was done by the BBC, and I highly recommend that you listen to this. It is a phenomenal listen. So let's talk about how to spot a scam. Now, some people are better at this than others. Some people don't notice scams whatsoever. And I've seen this firsthand, and it is scary. But a lot of people still don't notice when they're being scammed. And this is really down to the effect and the power that the internet has. We have this predisposition to trust what we see on a website, and this is dangerous because this is the first step to being scammed. Now, I've put together a few pointers here that I think are fairly universal, and I would say if you can match two of these, of this list that I'm going to give you, then it's a scam. I would personally say, to stay safe, if you match even one of these things, steer clear of it. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to recommend to you is, does this look a little bit weird? That is quite broad, but you only have to look at these particular examples to see that they're all looking a bit strange. So you can see here, these examples are all designed to try and get your attention. Some of these websites will also make you click and click and click to actually get to the end. Now, this is almost certainly some sort of clickbait that we mentioned previously that is trying to draw your attention in a very powerful, emotional, or in a very curious way. And most of the time they will start their scamming journey once you've clicked. So if you think something looks a bit weird, no matter how curious you are safer not clicking on this whatsoever. Now, if you are interested to see more examples of terrible clickbait and actually where they end up, have a look at this Facebook page called Stop Clickbait. They do the clicking so you don't have to, and they also tell you the end result, so you'll be able to see what the end result was and how many clicks it might have taken you versus the actual clickbait itself, and you'll see it is of very little intellectual value. This one is more specific to emails, but it does apply to the web as well. But have a close look at the spelling. Most of the time, the people that are running these scams are hiring other people to actually write the content and just execute the scam. And most of the time, these people are not educated. They are simply small cogs in a very big operation. Most of the time, they cannot spell very well. And the moment you start to see spelling mistakes or even some sort of pattern change, like the color of the font has changed, this is a scam, and forget about it. Now, this next one is an interesting one. We will go on to this one a little bit more later, but have you been asked to do something that you didn't think about or even want to do yourself in the first place? If this is the case, then this is almost certainly a scam, because they are simply using the power of how we perceive the internet to be right all the time to ask you to do something, and most of the time it's just a scam. It's just a scam. They're going to try and get your data, they're going to try and get your money, they're going to try and access your friends, your family, everything about you. And this again is very, very valuable to the scammers. The moment you get an email and it's trying to ask you to do something, simply forget about it and delete it and don't think about it anymore. You will be happier for it. So just off the back of the last one, I just want to zone in on one particular thing that generally happens when you are in the process of being scammed, and that is, are you being asked to hand over any sort of personal details that is related to you? If you are and you don't know who these people are prior, then simply do not continue, because at the end of the day, even if they get some sort of data from you, this is incredibly valuable. So if you are being asked to hand over any sort of detail about you and who you are or anything connected to you, then simply do not continue. And finally, an obvious one. Is this too good to be true? If it is too good to be true, and it looks too good to be true, it feels like it's too good to be true, it is probably too good to be true. And I cannot stress that enough. If you're seeing adverts or clickbait or anything along them lines and you're going to win something, you are going to be the one that is likely to be the loser, and they're going to be the winner. That is for sure, because they will have either got your money or your data in some capacity, and they won. They're the winners. I'll be absolutely honest, I've never known of anyone that has actually won anything from this sort of clickbait. So the first one we're going to cover is browsers, your web browser. Now this is your portal, this is your way in to all the content that most people want to access today, which is on the World Wide Web. As it currently stands, most people are using Google Chrome. I would say Chrome also has to please the most people, to put it simply, and for that reason they might not build in as many security features. Even though it is highly secure, they might not build in some of the security features and enable them by default that other browsers do. So let's explore some of them other browsers. The first browser I can recommend to you is called Brave. Now Brave take their security very seriously. They block all tracking cookies, they block as much as they can to prevent people finding out about your identity and who you are that really shouldn't be finding out about this sort of stuff. Brave runs on the same technology that Chrome runs on for showing web pages, but it's worth mentioning that due to Brave being so secure, sometimes some websites do not work. So it's worth mentioning that as well. And the other browser I can recommend is Firefox. Now Firefox is a little more well known, I would say, than Brave, but it has its own features in terms of keeping people secure and preventing tracking on the web. Also, Firefox are starting to roll out built-in VPN as well, which we'll touch on later, but this is also a very helpful feature, so I'll leave links to that as well below. So we just mentioned it, but we're going to talk about VPNs. It stands for Virtual Private Network, and in a nutshell, a VPN connection secures your connection between your computer and the end destination. and it attempts to hide your journey to the end destination. Now, this can be useful if you want to attempt to cover your tracks a little bit online, and I say a little bit because I'll go into that a bit later. Generally provides more security when you're connecting to websites and services that do not have the proper standard of security that should be available to everyone today. I've put together a little analogy to help you try and understand what a VPN is visually. Now, I want you to try and imagine that you are going from point A to point B in your car. Now, a VPN service will effectively put your car inside another car, and instead of sending you on public roads which can be spied on, for example, they will send you in an underground sequence of tunnels, and you will just come out at your destination and no one will have been able to see how you got there. This is probably the simplest analogy that I can give you, but I hope it makes you understand it just a little bit better. Burner email accounts. Now, this sort of mechanism has started to become more and more popular with modern banking and phone networks these days, where you're able to get, for example, a temporary card number or a temporary phone number in order for you to be able to give to a party that you don't quite trust. And I think this is a great idea. It shields you from them ever finding out your real or primary details, and the same exists for email addresses. So if you are pursuing some sort of activity, it doesn't matter what it is, and you are even just the slightest bit skeptical, use a burner email address or use a burner card number, use a burner phone number. And there are a ton of services out there that let you set this up for free, and they'll usually forget your details within a couple of hours or something along them lines. So again, I'll link these below for you to have a look at. If you use Gmail, and I think there might be a few other email services that also provide this, but if you specifically use Gmail, and chances are you probably do, then there is a little trick that you can use in order to find out if a company or a website has been hacked, has sold or given your data away, which is obviously not allowed. Now, this feature is called plus addressing, and what plus addressing allows you to do is it allows you to add a plus after the first segment of your email address and then any word after it. You can then use that email address anywhere you'd like normally. And when you receive an email from that service or website, you will be able to see that it sent it to your plus address. Now, the way to see if a website or service have sold your email address, transferred it, or been hacked is if you start receiving that email address from another service provider or website. And you can tell this from the plus address that you created. If it didn't come from the one that you originally created it for, then somehow someone else got your address. Just take a look at this illustration. I'm going to create an email address here, and this email address is intended for website A. Now, all of a sudden, I've started receiving emails for the plus address that I created for website A, but I'm now receiving it from website B. This indicates that website B, in some way or form, have managed to obtain the data from website A. So here's an interesting one. Give fake details. For example, give fake addresses, fake names, make a name up. This is probably one of the stronger mechanisms you can do to protect your real identity online. It's just create a fake identity and use that, because more than likely they will never be able to be traced back to you. I know quite a few people that do this. They do this religiously, and I commend them for it, because in a really weird way, there's nothing more unnatural than putting fake details onto a form, for example, that you don't fully trust, but I would highly recommend it. Of course, you wouldn't do this on trusted government websites, for example, but websites that you do not fully trust or you do not know who they are, there is no reason not to put fake details in unless you are paying for something. But again, hopefully you wouldn't get that far without being able to find out who they are first. And in the event that you used fake details and now you need to give them real details, all you need to do is contact them, or they will contact you if they are a legitimate outfit and they know that the details are fake. So the next one is quite an important one, because this one is down to you, and that is, don't do anything that you didn't think about doing in the first place. So what I mean to say is, if you go onto a website and it's asking you to do something that you didn't want to do in the first place, then steer well clear of this, because of course at the end of it, it probably involves trying to get your data or money in some capacity. So again, don't do anything that you didn't think about doing in the first place. And finally, if in doubt, don't. It's as simple as that. If any fiber of your being feels that this is wrong, that this isn't quite right, that this isn't going the way that you wanted it to go, do not continue, just stop. You have the power to stop by closing that website immediately and not continuing. They can't do nothing about it. So exercise that power that you have. Close that browser window and don't go back to it. It is as simple as that. So thank you for watching and sticking around all the way to the end. Please like and subscribe for more. If you've got any stories or any comments or even any tips and tricks that you would like to share, then please comment below. I would love to hear your stories, and also for us to help each other and possibly help out other people that are reading as well. It would be incredible. Until the next time, this has been Keo from Constant.